I wanted to get to a bigger point. Because the time comes, somewhat pun intended, for us to take the gloves off when it comes to Jake Paul.
After I beat Mike Tyson, the amount of people saying this is rigged was crazy.
And I can break his mentality, then I've broken Jake. So this is why it's going to be an interesting fight, because I just don't look at it from a physical standpoint.
Stephen A. Smith reportedly reacts with shock after Mike Tyson and Anthony Joshua exposed Jake Paul for alleged bribe attempts. Smith says the sport has reached a breaking point. He argues boxing must stop these ridiculous spectacles. According to him, gloves should be taken away because Paul turns fights into scripted business deals. Smith believes this behavior disrespects real fighters and damages boxing's credibility worldwide.
These are the kind of things that I'm talking about here. Boxing's a skill. Let me give y'all an example. Remember Francis Ngannou? Remember that monster? That Nigerian nightmare? Remember him? And then we saw him show up and show a little skill against Tyson Fury, who came there out of shape. What happened when he got into the ring with Anthony Joshua? He got put to sleep much in the same way Nate Robinson got put to sleep. Boxing is a skill.
Anthony Joshua has already shown his stance clearly. When asked if he would go easy on Jake Paul or follow any special rules, AJ dismissed the idea completely. He said he only fights for real, with no conditions. As a world champion, Joshua made it clear he cannot risk his legacy on gimmick fights or scripted outcomes and will never compromise the sport for entertainment or money.
You see with Jake, what I learned about Jake is, so when you look at the physicality stuff, and as you said, he's looking at my chest, I think Jake is someone where I got to beat him mentally because he's a mental person. This is my observation. A lot of what Jake's preparation is based around is not only the physical aspects of training, but the way he thinks, meditation, breath work. And if I can break his soul and I can break his mentality, then I've broken Jake. So this is why it's going to be an interesting fight, because I just don't look at it from a physical standpoint. I know the person that's in front of me, and I know that I got to break it. That's what I said, I got to take his soul. It's not just physical, I got to take your soul in the ring.
Only person that can do that is God.
I knew he was going to say that.
Is he with your brain?
No, I don't know. That's what I was gonna ask, is how do you plan on doing that? Like, when is it gonna start?
Because everything.
I mean, obviously in the fights it's different, you know? But I mean, when are you gonna start taking it?
I've just seen in fights when I can see someone's, let's call it energy, frequency leaving their body. And that's what my goal is to do the same to you. You have that instinct. You can see it. When you're fighting, you can just see a small glimmer of someone that's just about to start fading. And then you just keep exploiting that, keep exploiting that until some people give up, some people get knocked out. We'll figure it out. But as I said, for me, it's not just going in there and being dominating physically. I want to break him down spiritually and mentally.
That's some deep boxing you just broke down.
That's some deep boxing shit you just broke down. Yeah, Mike Tyson reportedly suggests that Jake Paul attempted to script elements of the fight. Tyson explains that money was never a factor for him, since he is already financially secure and the bout could not change his lifestyle. He says he agreed to step into the ring one last time purely for personal reasons. According to reports, Tyson did not fight for profit, but resisted any attempt to control the outcome. Just too good to walk away from.
This fight is not going to change my lifestyle financially. I'm a fighter. I feel good. I can do it. I feel I can beat this guy.
Come on. Well, we're going to be in the building. I'm going to be there. Speaking of the exhibition with Roy, like, when that exhibition happened, man, I felt like it was two of my uncles fighting at the bar.
Joe Rogan discusses the pattern he believes surrounds Jake Paul's boxing career. According to Rogan, Jake repeatedly chooses opponents who are physically bigger but strategically safer in other ways. He suggests that these matchups are not accidental. Rogan argues that these fighters bring massive attention and name value, which benefits Jake regardless of the sporting outcome. Using Mike Tyson as an example, Rogan explains that legends attract audiences simply by stepping into the ring. This creates a situation where entertainment value outweighs competition. Rogan hints that the outcomes often appear tilted in Jake's favor. leaving fans questioning whether these bouts are genuine contests or carefully managed spectacles designed to maximize profit and visibility. Man,
it's a different thing with that guy.
Well, it's like Matt always says, play to your strengths.
Yeah,
no
but
doubt.
you know, you got to take that payday. I mean, what did he make out of that fight? He probably made $10 million or something.
Yeah.
And Jake Paul's very smart, man. Like he gets guys that he's bigger
than,
the only
younger
time
than.
he fought another boxer his size was
He
Tom
lost.
Fury, and he lost. Tom Fury?
Good fight.
Tommy Fury.
Very
Tommy
good
Fury.
fight. Very good fight. You know, I think he's like any other young up-and-coming boxer. It's just everybody dismisses him because he's a YouTuber.
For sure.
He's
It's easy to dismiss him, but I was there when he knocked out Tyron, and I was like, man, I'm done with this kid. I never wanted to corner another fight in my life, man. I was like, yo, he just knocked my boy flat out on his.
I was heartbroken. Jake Paul responds to these accusations by dismissing them outright. He claims people are fabricating stories because they dislike his success. According to Jake, the idea that fights are scripted is a convenient excuse used by critics who refuse to accept his progress as a boxer. He emphasizes that boxing commissions oversee these events and would never allow illegal manipulation. Jake insists that every opponent steps into the ring willingly and that he trains hard to earn his victories. He believes the constant accusations are proof that he has disrupted the boxing world and forced traditional fans to confront a new reality they are uncomfortable accepting.
I beat Mike Tyson. The amount of people saying this is rigged was crazy. They like showed this clip of Mike Tyson going to swing at me with a left hook, and he like stopped doing it, but saw I had my right hand up. So he would have like swung like this, I catch it and shoot. He's leaning forward like I could have knocked him out. So that's why he stopped throwing it. And it's like they play this one clip and it has literally 50 million views on TikTok, but the average.
I talked, but the average person doesn't understand boxing. The Jake Paul versus AJ fight showed a clear and dangerous mismatch from the opening moments. Former UFC champion Michael Bisping reacted strongly, pointing out that Jake Paul was nowhere near the level required to face an elite heavyweight like Anthony Joshua. He described the bout as a lesson in real professional boxing, where timing, skill, and experience decide everything. Joshua's punches were accurate and heavy, exposing the gap in class. Bisping stressed that this result was inevitable because Paul lacked the tools, defense, and ring awareness to survive against a world-class boxer at that level.
No, that wasn't the case at all. What we saw, in my humble opinion, because I'm a big Anthony Joshua fan. Of course, I've been a supporter for the longest time. A rather lackluster, unmotivated Anthony Joshua that didn't look like he was being particularly nasty, right? Yeah, a lot of the time he was out of range, and okay, it is hard to land a shot on someone that's backing up and moving away the whole time. And there was a lot of times where he had him in the corner and he could have thrown a shot. And sometimes he was telegraphing his shots. And anytime he did go in to throw a punch, as I said before, Jake Paul would shoot in and turn it into a wrestling match. And even when he wasn't shooting in, he was clinching a lot. This is boxing, it's not MMA as we know. The referee should have done a much better job of getting in there and separating them much, much faster. As I say, it was the 6th round. I think it was the 4th round he got dropped twice. In the 5th round he got through it. In the 6th round, caught him with the jab, a glancing right hook. He goes down, and that was that. That was all she wrote, right? I did a live. There was about 9,000 people watching at one point. Nobody was particularly enjoying the matchup. Listen, okay? I respect both men. I respect anyone really that steps into the ring, okay? And certainly going up against Anthony Joshua, that was a tall task, okay? You know, metaphorically and figuratively, right? It was a tall task. It was a big job. It was a tough opponent. It was a mismatch, and it was, right? Jake Paul never worried Anthony Joshua once. He never rung his bell. He never caused any damage. He never had him worried. He never did anything. It wasn't a fight. It was a display of how long can Jake Paul last? Can he run away long enough to...
Influencer boxing changed the sport's foundation. When YouTubers and celebrities entered boxing, the focus shifted from technique and legacy to views and revenue. Many believe fights are now built around hype rather than skill. The art of boxing, once defined by discipline and mastery, is seen as secondary to marketing strategies. These events generate massive income through sponsorships and streaming deals, which leads to accusations that outcomes matter less than financial success. For traditional fans, influencer boxing feels less like competition and more like staged entertainment, with the influencer wearing boxing gloves.
Boxing's pretty rigged overall.
Oh, yes, rigged, dude. I mean, so many politics, even with, MMA, man, there's so many politics. There's no more art anymore. It's just, let's get an influencer in there. I get it, it's like generating money because our attention span is so short. You look at clips now, it's like 7 seconds. I saw a dude slamming a lady the other day and they were like, oh my God, that dude is, I'm like, well, what the do? I'm just gonna pick somebody and slam them. Where's the whole video? And our attention span is just so small, so money talks, of course. Yeah, let's get an influencer in there who has no.
The fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul receives intense criticism from fans and analysts. Many believe the bout looked unnatural and overly controlled. Tyson's legacy as one of the most feared fighters in history makes the performance even harder to accept. Viewers question why Tyson appeared restrained and why moments that could have changed the fight never materialized. For critics, this fight symbolizes everything wrong with influencer boxing. It fuels the belief that legendary fighters are being used to legitimize modern spectacles rather than compete authentically. As more footage circulates, scrutiny increases. Observers point to moments where aggression appears muted and pacing feels calculated. The rhythm of the fight does not match what fans expect from genuine high-stakes boxing. This leads to deeper suspicion that the event was designed to protect certain narratives. While no proof confirms wrongdoing, the visual cues are enough to keep the debate alive. The fight becomes a reference point whenever scripted fight discussions arise, strengthening public doubts surrounding Jake Paul's biggest matchups.
Netflix is currently being sued over their Jake Paul-Mike Tyson fight. And it's not because people think the fight was rigged, though I have questions, and that's what we'll get into. It's because it didn't work. And a lot of people were buffering and unable to watch it despite signing up to pay for it. Now, the bigger question I have about this fight is, how come no one is suing over the fight being rigged? There's a lot of questions, and there's evidence piling up that suggests it may have been somewhat rigged. Now, there's varying degrees of arguments. The first is that Tyson was required to complete 8 rounds for money. Some say that's how it was rigged. He's not going to go all out to shut down Jake Paul because he wants $20 million. Others have said he was told he's not allowed to do uppercuts because that would end Jake Paul and probably hurt him very badly. Those are the two principal conspiracies, I suppose. One is that Mike Tyson actually pulled his punches completely and tried to avoid fighting, which falls in line with that first conspiracy, I suppose, of rigging. Now, of course, my friends, if you watched my video from before the fight, I thought it was going to be rigged for Tyson. Jake Paul doesn't look good having beat up an old man. I'm like, they're going to do something to have Mike Tyson win in the later rounds, and that way it'll be like the boomers and the Gen Xers who love boxing will see the champ fight one more time. Jake Paul is a young man. There's no harm in a young man losing to the great Tyson. They might say, you got beat up by an old man. He'll be like, it was Mike Tyson. But maybe Jake Paul's got too much of an ego for that. So I was wrong. What I was right about, I was half right. I said if Jake Paul wins this, people are going to be pissed. And it sucked. We all watched it.
Nikisa Badarian steps in to counter the criticism. She firmly denies any form of scripting or manipulation, stating that such actions are illegal and impossible under professional boxing regulations. He argues that Jake actually performed better than the judges credited him for in several rounds. According to Badarian, losses and criticism are part of the sport, especially when popularity is involved. He believes Jake has gained more supporters despite the backlash. In his view, hatred often grows alongside fame, and Jake's rising profile naturally attracts controversy regardless of truth. Against Anthony Joshua.
So that would have meant, 3-2 for Joshua heading into the 6th round, which again, a lot of people thought that he would dispose of him rather quickly. Can you give us an update on how he's doing? We know that he broke his jaw in multiple places, 2 places to be exact, and I believe he has revealed that he's had surgery since. How is he doing? How is he feeling?
He's doing great. Obviously, there's periods of time during the day where there's a lot of pain, periods of time where there is no pain actually. Recovery process is 5 to 6 weeks, and he's focused on coming back as a boxer in 2026. This is a sport that he loves. This is a sport that saved him from the path that he was on in the past. And I think in a funny way, I'm kind of glad he didn't win. And I know that may sound harsh, but imagine if Jake Paul, 5 years into the sport in reality, probably 3 years into the sport in terms of 3.5 years in terms of fighting top level competition who are fighters, beat Anthony Joshua. What would be the motivation to continue to get better, to double down on your training, to grind even harder had he had beaten Anthony Joshua? So Jake always says the best lessons or the best wins are from your losses, and I believe that happened with Tommy Fury, and I 100% believe that happened here. Because if Jake is truly passionate about this sport, he now realizes that he has to even commit more time, more resources, more days into elevating his craft.
So you know, the injury obviously is different than your typical injury, because obviously it's right there, that's where you're getting punched, and as we were talking about with Eddie earlier, like that could sometimes change the trajectory of one's career, and there are some people who don't come back. Some do. Some have had great careers after breaking their jaw. Is there any part of you after seeing that says to yourself, hey man, you've made millions of dollars, it's been incredible, we built this thing, it's lasting far longer than your career, right? MVP can be a thing with or without Jake. We saw the event in July. We don't need to do this anymore. You proved your point. I don't want to see you get hurt.
I think
that's ultimately his call. Jake's behavior before the Tyson fight becomes another source of suspicion. He publicly states that he knows he will be victorious even before stepping into the ring. While confidence is common among fighters, critics feel this certainty went beyond belief and preparation. His calm demeanor and assured statements make some observers feel the outcome was already decided in his mind. To skeptics, this confidence seems less like a competitive mindset and more like someone who expects events to unfold predictably. After the fight, Jake's reactions reinforce public skepticism. His body language suggests satisfaction rather than relief or exhaustion. Fans compare this to traditional fighters who show visible emotional release after tough battles. The contrast deepens suspicion that the event lacked real risk. While supporters see composure and maturity, critics interpret it as confirmation that the fight never carried true uncertainty. The fight between Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. triggers widespread disbelief. Julio appears unusually passive throughout the bout. He throws very few punches and rarely pressures Jake. For many viewers, it feels like Julio is simply present rather than competing. This fuels accusations that the fight was never intended to be competitive. Fans struggle to understand why an experienced fighter would perform with such low urgency unless motivation was missing. That first one, Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson, successful. That's a really interesting choice, because it is a choice. And if you look at 90% of fights out there and you ask the person what's going to happen, they speak about what they're going to do physically. You know, I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to give him a beating. I'm going to win. Something about their capacity physically. But this is Mike Tyson successful. And if you really think about that, if you look at this fight and look at the outcome, I would say since one half left with $40 million and the other half, the sum that's being talked about is $20 million, yeah, I would say that's pretty successful. Basically what I'm saying is that the adjective successful doesn't necessarily speak to the result of the fight. It doesn't necessarily speak to his capacity in the fight. It could be successful monetarily. It could be successful in the sense that he lasted at his age 8 rounds, so he feels like that's a personal success. Then he says victorious, which I guess is much more related to him suggesting that he's actually going to win. He's going to be the victorious one in the fight. And it's interesting that he said victorious as opposed to I'm going to win, I'm going to knock him out, which is a more concrete promise, quote unquote. But still, that successful is really interesting to me, that's where his mind went first. Then, after he provides the answer, Mike Tyson, successful, victorious, he himself changes the subject. He immediately gets off the topic and says, today is Ramadan, it's my holy holiday, so I can't say how I truly feel. Which, saying that he can't say how he truly feels, really corresponds with that lip compression.
Paulie Malignaggi presents an alternative perspective. He suggests the issue may not be a fix, but financial motivation. According to this view, Julio's low punch count reflects a lack of preparation rather than scripting. Malignaggi explains that when fighters enter bouts primarily for money, hunger disappears. Without the desire to win, performance naturally suffers. This interpretation shifts blame away from Jake while still highlighting problems with influencer boxing. It suggests the system itself encourages fighters to show up for paychecks instead of pride. Stay tuned until next time.
I think that Jake Paul undercards and the promotional arm of his brand, I think, is the most fun part of what Jake Paul brings to boxing. Honestly, I think long term, I think that's what we can all hope for. Because Jake's fights are, this one was borderline atrocious, and kind of the writing was on the wall. But you know, I gotta admit, even I bought drank the Kool-Aid, you know, and mainly I drank the Kool-Aid because Chavez Jr, who also is disgraceful for doing this, made me believe, you know, and I think, you know, this has been the problem with Chavez Jr. He's been enabled constantly by the media, the promoters, his family, and all this other stuff. So he never really shows up prepared. He never cares and just shows up to get paid and basically steals the bag every single time. And he did it tonight again. The reason I actually thought this fight had a chance was because Chavez Sr. Guaranteed us that his son was motivated and was having a training camp. So as much of a Hall of Fame career as the father had, the con artist, I guess, must run in the family, because Junior has been a con artist his whole career, but at least he's been enabled through it, you know. But now the father doing this, I mean, you knew already your son wasn't going to be ready. You put your own reputation on the line and sold us this crap. And then ultimately your son throws what most guys will throw in a round. He throws it through 10 rounds. It was actually